Hey y'all, welcome back to Cajun Country Living. If you remember in our last video, we were getting everything set up to build some pull posts so we could take that fence down between the house and the shop.
So like we said in that video, we had to come back to the Cajun Country scrapyard. How long do you think y'all have been bringing stuff back here?
My entire life and then beyond. There's a lot of stuff here that I can remember has been here for my entire existence. My farthest memories, I can remember it being there. Now the crazy thing is that some of this stuff that has been back here for my entire life and hasn't been used, all of a sudden we have a use for it. Now the biggest contributor to all of this material that we have to pick from is my dad. My dad grew up where you waste not, you want not. So that mindset is one of the biggest reasons why we still have this stuff back here, is because when we come back here, we try to get only what we need and waste nothing.
That's just like Jim's daddy told me that they take the button off of their shirt and use it like a spinner bait.
Oh yeah, a prime example. They would just take a button, any kind of a shiny or any kind of a button that would give off any kind of light refraction, run a string through one of the eyes of the button, tie their hook behind it, throw that out there in the water, and then just drag it through the water, and that button would make this swirling action, and they would catch bass doing that whenever they were a kid.
Next time we go fishing, we should really try it. If y'all want us to try that, drop down in the comments below, because I think it's going to take a little bit of convincing for Jim to want to do that. So y'all make sure to help me out right there.
Now that would be something. Captain Crocs and Lydia on a Bassmasters Classic, well, they caught this lunker on a button. And that's something you wouldn't see every day.
I know I showed y'all a few weeks ago some of the flowers that were blooming, and they were a white flower whenever we were back in the woods. And this right here is what it's going to become. So this is a wild blackberry. Right now they're still red, they're still ripe, so we need to give them a little bit more time, but this area is probably going to have a few more blackberries right here. But overall there's an abundance amount around here. So we'll make sure to get these whenever they're ready.
I feel so alive as I reach out to the sky. I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day.
Well, looks like somebody has donated to the Cajun Country scrapyard exactly what we need. This is exactly what we were talking about. Trying to repurpose and use things that we already have back here and do it in a way to where we use minimum amount of scrap. And bingo, we found this right here on aisle 6, right past the fruits and veggies. Bam, half of an H brace for a fence. Now the chances of us coming back here and find something that we could really use, the chances are great. But finding something back here exactly what we need, already halfway built, I think it's time for me to go buy a lottery ticket. This is part of one of the original braces from the old fence that my dad built whenever I was just a kid. So we're super excited to be able to repurpose this thing, put it right back into use on the same property, and it doesn't go to waste. But before we put it back in use, of course, there's some things that we got to do. We got to take care of this elephant in the room. But on the positive side of that, this was mixed in a wheelbarrow and poured in, and it was a wet mix, it wasn't dry mix, so this should come off pretty easy. You can see that this post right here was concreted in the ground on an angle. So if you would take it and flip it in this direction, that end of the pipe welded here. So it braced this whole H brace on an angle. It's cool, it's all here together. Of course, we're not going to use that piece, but it's cool to know where it came from.
We are going to use the tractor to move this. I think the buggy could probably pull it, but we have access to the tractor, so why not go ahead and get that. And speaking of tractors, would you like to give a quick update on yours? Does my face tell y'all anything?
Well, so you know about the little garden tractor that we have in the ICU right now? Turns out It's looking like I'm gonna have to go back on my word. I have to order a few parts, but it's not many parts, just a few parts. I mean, considering the whole engine was locked up, I've got just a tiny little amount of parts.
Y'all know how that starts. A little turns into a little bit more, to a little bit more, and the next thing you know, we've overhauled the entire tractor.
Hey, but y'all let me know what you think. I think that tractor will look good with a new set of tires, a new paint job, maybe a little front end loader for it. I can see all kinds of potential.
You want to take a ride on my big blue tractor?
Nah, I'll safely stay right here on the ground.
Should enjoy the fruits of life instead of chasing coins. Because it's a beautiful day. Isn't it so come on, let's play.
How about that parking job? What'd you just do?
I was just trying to measure the distance to see if I had enough chain.
Well, maybe you should have picked a longer chain.
Maybe you should just left the tractor at the house. We could just stretch the chain.
That ain't even that far.
Show everybody my patina job.
Before I show this to y'all, I just want to give y'all a little backstory real quick. We had a little bit of epoxy left over the other day, and Jim had the brilliant idea to start just covering things willy-nilly with it to see if it would stick. So here's one of them.
Oh yeah, real nice.
Hey, how stinking cool. People pay a lot of money to have clear coat patina. I know this is a tractor bucket, and I was just like throwing something against the wall to see if it stuck. But look how good this turned out.
Yeah, look how good.
That's hard as woodpecker lips. That
Yeah.
ain't going nowhere. Until I hang the chain on this bucket here in about 2 seconds, we're gonna break it off. Guaranteed.
I think that there's a lot of other details in this bucket that we needed to worry about before trying to coat it in something.
Oh, that'll buff right out.
You know what? Actually,
That's a good place for the chain to sit. Really, what you're doing is creating a holster.
That's slip resistant. That's not a dent. That's slip resistant.
you don't just find a bucket like this out there. This one is special and has this chain holding hoodis right dead center.
It's very custom, really custom. I mean, that is a one of a kind.
Throw another log onto the fire. Because it's a beautiful day. And come on, let's play.
Okay, wait, before you take that chain off, we need to see if the epoxy held up because I am very curious.
Let's check it out. Just some scratches. Man, that stuff is bad. That hook on that chain was here holding all that weight, and that's all we got was a little scratch.
Uh-oh. It looks to me that we're about to buy a lot of a Rust-Oleum epoxy.
One of the fun things about this whole process is that conveniently this pasture is full of cattle. So hopefully we don't have any helpers during this process. If y'all missed the shot earlier of the back of Jim's shirt, it's official. This is the Captain Crocs logo made by yours truly.
I have the name and the complete uniform now.
We've already had a lot of comments that said, if y'all make some Captain Crocs shirts, let us know, we want one. So if y'all are serious, drop down in the comments and I'll do what I can about adding them to the merch page. We'll do a limited edition Captain Croc shirt. If y'all do want these, I'll make sure to let y'all know whenever we're gonna drop that on our merchandise page. What's the next step?
We gotta get the concrete off of there. Need to measure the distance to dig our other hole. Then we're gonna have to saddle those two ends of the pipe. Make sure we can set it in place, get it plumb and level. Weld it in.
And then I'm gonna weld it in.
Oh man.
Hey, you trusted me to weld the front posts that are holding on our whole entire porch. Don't let him talk a big game, y'all. He knows.
It is really fun, for the record, to give her a hard time about the welding. She can really weld good, but it gives me great pleasure to act like she can't.
Wait. Did you say that I can outweld you?
I wouldn't go that far.
How about your brothers?
Uncle Wags?
Uncle Wags?
Oh yeah, you can probably outweld Uncle Wags.
I wonder if we could get Uncle Wags over here and have a little competition.
I bet whenever he watches this video, he's gonna want to come over here and put that to the test.
It's okay. Just show him up. We need to bet something real good, like a crawfish bowl or something. That's a good bet. Uncle Wags, it's your time to shine. Let me ask you this first. Why can't we just leave the concrete on there?
And we can leave the concrete on here. It's just that much bigger of a hole we'll have to dig, but really it's not very big around, so we'll just have to dress up some of this top, knock these chips off, clean it up, and get it in the hole, and then backfill around it with dry concrete. It's fine to do that way. It'd just be a nicer finish if it was easier to knock off.
So you're telling me we're doing extra work?
We always do extra work. Even when we set out not to do extra work, we do extra work.
Jim went to go get a hammer and some safety glasses, and I was just gonna show y'all something really funny that I've noticed living down here. It's like you can always tell from a distance where the low spots are in the yard, because they will be filled with crawfish mounds. As y'all can see behind me, all these little tiny dirt spots are crawfish mounds, because this is the lowest point in our yard. We are gonna have to build it up like we talked about. We're gonna have a lot of dirt hauled in here. It's probably gonna take more than we think it is, hopefully not. But for now, this is where the crawfish are gonna live. Whenever we start building this up, they're probably gonna move somewhere else. But they always stay at that lowest point because it's gonna hold the most water, and they dig down that mud, they start building these forms in this little shelter. I'm just giving crawfish lessons.
A northerner giving crawfish lessons. That's something you don't see every day.
Okay.
What was you telling them?
For the record, I've been here long enough. Have you ever caught your own crawfish for a crawfish bowl?
The answer to that is yes. I have caught the crawfish for a crawfish bowl, but not the crawfish in your yard. That is a different type of crawfish.
And they'll taste a little muddy, won't they?
It would take a lot of string, a lot of bacon, and a lot of patience. You would be a really old person by the time you caught enough of these kind of crawfish to make a crawfish bowl.
Maybe not our smartest location to do this.
We should have probably done this in the road.
Let them run and hide, baby, 'cause we're
Okay. The camera does not do it justice. It does not look very deep. But I assure you that it is.
We got the hole finished. We're gonna set the pipe in the hole to try to keep the cows from wanting to step in the hole while we get the rest of our stuff together. That's just what cows do. Cows like to do things that don't make any sense, and it would be my luck we'd leave this hole open and a cow would step in and break a leg. And then Lydia would have the cow in the living room with a cast on its leg, feeding it hay. You know, it'd be a whole thing.
No. Lydia would have the cow in the kitchen in the skillet is what Lydia would have it. Y'all might not need to if you want to make one of these, but for us, it would be our luck that we'd go to walk and we'd drop it or we'd hit it on something. So.
What in the crock hooters is going on here?
As we prep the pipe to be welded, it's going to be very interesting to see who does a better job, Jim or Lydia, whenever it comes to welding. So y'all stay tuned for Wednesday.